Hi and welcome to Rockin the Planet. I'm Shane and I'm so glad you could join me this week to celebrate more of New Zealand's finest talent. This week we get to sit and chat with a man who's done it all, from being a radio host to a singer-guitarist, Hamilton's talented entertainer, Glenn Carley. And as if that isn't enough, we get to catch up with one of our most respected musicians, singer-songwriter from Tauranga, Chris Gunn. But first, let's see who's been rocking the planet this week. Well, I have to commend Grant Galanders, the kingpin of local retro record label Frenzy Records. He has recently completed the mammoth task of compiling every track ever recorded by New Zealand's mod father of rock, Ray Columbus, and given it a worldwide release under the title Now You Shake. The CD collection features songs recorded in San Francisco with his American band Art Collection, along with songs recorded with 60s pop act The Challenge. This is a must-have CD for the avid collectors of great Kiwi music. Well done, Grant Galanders and Frenzy Records. And Ray did so much for New Zealand talent, way back in the 60s, right through the whole gamut. He has done so much, and of course he became an MBE for all his hard work to promote New Zealand music. And that's what we're here to do, just the same thing, and we're promoting New Zealand music. And tonight I have a very special guest, my first very special guest, a guy that's braved, I should say, the wind and the rain, and he's driven all the way from Hamilton, Mr. Glenn Carley. How are you, Glenn?
I'm great, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, mate. This has been a promise for so long. I mean, we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. We've met up at different gigs, but I'm so happy to see you here at last.
It's come to fruition somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to talk about your career and how you got started. And Glenn, you've been a musician all your life, really.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm.
But you've done a lot of genres. You've been a radio DJ.
Yes.
Sort of out there playing guitar, and you've done all sorts of different parts of showbiz. That's what we all do in New Zealand.
Well, we have to be versatile.
We have to be versatile. Oh, yes. But anyway, Glenn, so what really did you have a family of musicians that you grew up with?
I guess my grandparents are quite musical, particularly my grandmother on the dad's side. She could play the piano like a whole orchestra on a piano, just without music, just sight. So that was perfect, and my dad played harmonica, and he loved the old squeeze box, if you like, and it all came down to me, and I picked up the guitar one day and said, "Yep, okay, I'll try and play it." But I had it for 12 months before I even went to a teacher. Yeah. Because it had 6 strings and I only had 4 fingers, and it didn't quite fit.
Figure that out. Yeah. But you had gatherings around the piano and all that sort of thing with the family.
Not so much around the family, but it's certainly at parties and amongst my up here as my friends. Somebody's got to play the guitar. It had to be me.
Well, I know that you inherited their party spirit. I'm sure you did.
Oh,
yes.
Did I? Okay,
you're a bit of a party animal. I've been up late with you.
You taught me well
playing guitars. So that's where your spirit comes from for the music thing. But you didn't start out straight away performing as such. You looked for another job as such, and you became as I say, radio. I want to get to the radio part of it. What year was that when you started in the radio?
Well, of course, I was playing in bands around the Eastern Bay underage in the early 70s. And I thought, this would be a good career to pursue. But of course, my dad always said, no, you've got to have a real job.
Don't they?
I thought, what's a real job? And so I thought, right, ideally I'd get into radio, because radio had just started up in Wakatani, where I grew up. And in 1975 I started there as a journalist.
Oh, as a journalist?
Because they didn't have room for a DJ, and I really wanted to play all that music, Midnight Dawns, any time of the day would have been great. Yeah. But no, there was no room, so I had to go into the newsrooms.
You've got a lovely radio voice. I mean, just talking here, I can hear you've got a great voice, Lovely diction.
It lasted 28 years, so I guess I had something, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So, and then it must have been always nagging at you. I want to pursue a career, basically in music. Yeah. And I want to get down and get my guitar out and play some music.
When I saw the changes in radio, the way things were going, I decided, this is not quite me. So I moved out.
Can I ask you what those changes are? What are you saying?
They were centralising everything into the big cities, the small towns were missing out.
Yeah, they took them over, and then
they did. They took them over. They were cutting costs. Call it what you will. Yeah. And so I thought, right, I'm going to jump ship. So I did, and got into a real job, dare I say it. And eventually,
Back to
however,
journalism?
no, not exactly. Although I did do a small stint in newspapers, but eventually I got back into a corporate company, and again there were changes within the corporate company.
Yeah.
And I came home one day and I said to my partner Cherie, I said, "Look, I'm giving up this job." And I think there was initial shock.
Cherie.
She said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to do my music. It's something I should have done years ago."
Yeah.
And so I did.
You're a brave man, and it's great. And Cherie's a brave lady because she took it on and she said, "Yeah, okay, go for it."
She did.
What a lucky man you are.
Well, I think that's what she said after she got over the shock.
Yeah, she did. And well, she saw you get out there, and you probably, and I know myself, I've seen you work so hard at showbiz, and you're out there working every weekend. You're all over the countryside.
That's right.
I mean, I see you, advertised at gigs I'm at, and there's not many of us out there working really hard these days.
No.
I'm just very one of the lucky ones, and you are just the same, But it's perseverance.
It is.
And it's a hard task to be a full-time entertainer here.
Absolutely, yes.
And I call you entertainer because I know you do a tribute show for Neil Diamond.
I do, yes. That's a story in itself. I was before I'd started work, and I was working at a supermarket after school. In the fruit and veggie department with a lovely little English girl.
I've heard about your fruit and veggie.
Have you?
In your little jockeys, It's another
We're
story.
not going to go there.
Another story.
But she said to me, and we got to talking about music, and she found out that I enjoyed Neil Diamond, and she said, "Have you heard his latest album?" I said, "Which one was that?" And it turned out to be Hot August Night.
Oh, great.
And of course I didn't have a copy at that time, being as poor as I was then, just like now as a musician. Yeah. And she said, "Well, take my copy home," and I did for the weekend, and I played it probably 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
I drove my parents crazy, but I learned every single song, and I played along to every single one of those. And that was the beginning of what becomes my Neil Diamond tribute today.
And it's in big demand.
It is. He's
You're
a
out.
very popular artist, of course,
Oh,
and
yes.
those who
Great
can't get to
songs.
his actual gigs are quite happy to take the tribute performers.
Well, it's the same thing. I do the Cliff Richard and the Shadows thing.
You
and
do.
And people love that, because you can't get it. No one plays that stuff.
No,
And I don't
no.
see a great deal of people playing Neil Diamond either, apart from Neil Diamond himself and you, Glenn Carley. You're doing a great job out there, mate.
Thank you, yeah.
Well, Glenn, are you going to sing us one of your beautiful songs?
I will. It's off my album, which was produced at Manuka Studios by Mike McCarthy. He did a
Yes.
fantastic job, and I still have a few copies for sale, of course, as you do.
Covering
And,
country.
that's right.
That's cool.
It is all country music. There are 2 original songs on there, which I co-wrote with our good friend Tim Armstrong.
I love you, Tim. Yeah.
And there's quite a few from Alan Jackson, and it's an Alan Jackson number I'm going to do for you tonight.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. And it's called...
Buick's to the Moon. It's a love
Buick's
song.
to the Moon.
It's a love song that Alan wrote for his wife Denise.
Sounds beautiful to me. Let's hear it.
How long will I love you? I don't really know. I like to think forever is how far we could go. So let me paint a picture of how it's gonna be. Today you don't mean everything to me. When a nickel's worth $1 and gold ain't worth a dime, when they build a ship on waters that will take you back in time, when stars have all been counted and I stop loving you, honey, they'll be driving Buicks to the moon. Now you don't have to worry about what comes to pass. This old world may wear out, but my love's gonna last. If they ever build that highway to the moon, I'll just find something else to promise you. When a nickel's worth $1 and gold ain't worth a dime, when when they build a ship on waters that will take you back in time, when the stars have all been counted and I stop loving you, honey, they'll be driving Lewis to the moon. When the stars have all been counted and I stop loving you, honey, they'll be driving Buicks to the moon.
Buicks to the Moon, Glenn Carley. Beautiful song. I love that. Alan Jackson, of course.
Alan Jackson, yes.
He's obviously one of your heroes, Alan Jackson.
He is, yes.
And are these the people that inspire you? Is Alan Jackson your hero, or is it who actually inspires you and gives you the spirit to...
I was given some Alan Jackson songs a few years ago before I even started doing it full time, and I didn't even realise how good they were at that point. But since then I've grown with him and included a lot of his music in my repertoire. But there are others, of course, I can go back to the old days, Merle Haggard, George Jones, of course, Kitty Rogers, and there are many more from that era. But also those of today, your Brad Paisleys, your Ty Herndons and Tim McGraw and so on. There's many more like that. So it's just beautiful music. It's real music.
It is. And being real music, of course it is. But it's really country music that inspires you more than
yes, it is now.
Any other genre. Yeah. Pop music or...
Strangely enough, there was a gentleman who said to me one day, he said, you really should be a country singer. That's country music you should be singing. It's your genre, it's your voice. Yeah. I said, really? Okay. Yeah. It took me a few years to understand that.
It sounded good to me, and I know it's sounding good to everyone out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Glenn Carley, I am so happy to have you here, mate.
Thank you,
I wish you all the success up in Pie here.
Eventually, yes.
In May.
Yes.
Just a little way away, so good luck, and we'll have you back again when you've got the new album out and some more news.
Absolutely.
Catch up with us again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Okay, now respect doesn't come easy in the music business, but my next special guest is truly admired by his peers. What more can I say but introduce you to a real gentleman, Mr. Chris Gunn. How are you, mate?
Thanks, mate.
And I mean those words.
You are
truly admired by all your peers.
Appreciate it. Thank you, mate.
You have so many friends in the music business, and everyone talks about you. You're one of those people that just have oozing with talent, but no one really knows about you outside of the music business. You know what I mean?
I'm the shy, retiring type.
The shy, retiring type, and I believe me, he's not. But now, for you, it started. I first heard of you way back in the 70s. I didn't meet you at the time, but I thought you were a Wellingtonian, but you're not.
No.
Where are you from?
I'm a South Auckland boy, Manurewa.
Oh, Manurewa.
Yep.
Okay.
I was brought up.
So you grew up in Manurewa, in a musical family?
Yeah, I'm adopted. And music for me was nurture, not nature. Yeah. And I was surrounded by it. My father played fabulous piano. My mother wrote poetry and stuff, and all her brothers, and she came from a big family, all played musical instruments. And our house was the party house on the street, and it was just a fabulous time to be around.
Yeah, what a fantastic gift for you to have been adopted by people that were so musical. And
yeah, it was fantastic.
And so they insisted that you learn to play, or did you just naturally want to play?
No, well, yeah, I did want to play, but I got taught classical piano for 7 years, and then along the way picked up the guitar and played in a couple of little bands at school that never amounted to anything, and then I joined my first real band and got paid my first paycheck when I was 15, which was 50 years ago. And I actually was playing bass in that band.
I was going to say, you started out as a bass player.
That's right. Yeah.
Even though you did piano lessons. What was the bass thing? What drew you to the bass?
In those days, bass was something that nobody taught. Because bass guitar was, especially around Manurewa, was a fairly new thing. Yeah. And I guess having played piano, I had an understanding of how bass was tied in with the rest of it.
And all that,
So I picked it up and fell into it and just fell in love with it. It's still my favourite instrument. I just adore standing at the back of the band with a damn fine drummer and laying down a good feel. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, so you started out as a bass player. Somehow you ended up in Wellington. Now, this is where you came to me. You know, this is the first time I heard about Chris Gunn. He was in Wellington and he was going to Napier.
Well, I went to Australia in '69 and played over there for 2 years, and then came home.
Still playing bass?
Yep, still playing bass, and went to Wellington looking for a bass gig. I just wanted to change, and I loved Wellington. So there wasn't much around for a bass player, and I ended up getting a gig as a guitar player. And the band was very straight. They wore white ties and white trousers and paisley shirts and white shoes, and it was all very embarrassing.
Sounds like my band. And now.
And in those days I had hair, and it was down here, and it wasn't my thing. Anyway, the band was good, and we had a lot of fun. And
the band was called Fifth Movement?
The band was called Fifth Movement.
Yeah.
And then gradually we sort of got rid of the uniform and started playing more rocky gigs. And then we were sitting in Rotorua one night before dinner, looking at Ready to Roll, I think it probably was.
Yeah.
And we saw Alice Cooper on there, and we thought, whoa, that's Hardcase.
He's for me.
Yeah, he's the man. It was great. We never seen anything like it, and it was great. So we got all the girls that we knew together, and we flogged all their makeup and painted our faces up and went on stage. And it looked ridiculous because we all had beards and moustaches and everything else. But
quite cool, really. Yeah, go on.
it created a stir, and we thought about it, and so a few of us ended up shaving and doing the whole 9 yards, and we became one of the pioneers of glam rock in this country. We were never recognised for it, but we just did it, you know.
Now that glam rock thing sort of was about 1972-ish.
Yeah.
And this is when you actually went to the Cabana, the famous hotel in Napier.
Right.
Every band in New Zealand played at the Cabana, and every musician must have played there. It was on the circuit, the pub circuit, which we had was thriving at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a fantastic era.
Yeah.
And so you went there, but you became the resident band there, the Fifth Movement.
Pretty much. We played there. Dick Kellett came up and saw us playing at another hotel in Napier. And he walked up and he saw us and he said, "You shouldn't be playing in this pub, you should be playing in my one." And we said, "Oh, where's yours?" And he said, "Down the road, Cabana." Well, this was the Leopard Inn, and the Leopard Inn was
the Leopard Inn, I
flash.
played there myself, yeah.
We went down to the Cabana and went, oh my God. But it was just such a great place. The atmosphere was, she was a rough old joint, but man, it was a great place to play.
And now that was running like, at that time, it's amazing, it's hard to believe now, but 5 nights, six nights a week.
That's right.
You'd get 200 people there on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday,
Yeah, that's right.
as well as the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's great.
it was packed every night.
It's
And you were
fantastic.
the resident band, so it really built up. You had a huge following.
We got into the thing of going around second-hand shops and buying up the odd, cheap guitar and putting an acoustic pickup in it, and we'd start the last song off, which was usually Maggie May, and then we'd smash it up and set fire to it and set fire extinguishers off. People used to turn up for the last set just to watch us finish the night. It was outrageous. It was a lot of fun.
And everyone drank hard then, and it was the new era. It was 10 o'clock closing had only come to the pubs only recently at that time.
Yeah, that's right.
So 6 o'clock closing had just gone, and so everyone was up in arms going, "Let's go party!"
Yeah,
So and you were right in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, you moved on from Napier. That band obviously would have worn itself out after a couple of years.
We moved to the Waikato.
The band itself.
We got offered a resident gig at Lady Hamilton's.
Yeah.
But residency didn't sit well with me. I wasn't happy being in one place, and I know the drummer at that stage, who was Daryl Jacobs. Daryl didn't like it either.
Yeah.
So the band sort of went in different directions, and I ended up moving up to Auckland, and I think Daryl went back to Australia, and I was touring with Mike Corliss.
Mike Corliss, of course, who famous for managing Hello Sailor.
Yep. Well, he used to run road shows, and they were sponsored by cigarette companies. Glenvale Wines sponsored them, and we used to have a ball.
Yeah.
Sponsors products.
People like in those days, it was wonderful. There was no restrictions on cigarette companies sponsoring you. You know, we had North Pole sponsoring us, giving away cigarettes to everybody. Can you imagine that in this day and age? Giving cigarettes to all the young people around the stage, and then you'd get Glenvale Wines promoting your band. And they're giving out wine to everybody in the supermarket. It's crazy. Great times.
And then we toured quite a bit. For about 18 months, we did the circuit that Mike had put together. Had a lot of fun doing that. And then I got offered the bass playing seat with Human Instinct.
Now this is really interesting for me because we love Morris.
Oh, yeah.
We know Morris, the drummer, Morris Greer. We had him on the show about a year and a half ago, and we must get him back actually and catch up with him. But we still see him from time to time.
Well, he's living in Tauranga now.
And he's living in Tauranga.
Yeah.
And he's still playing a bit of drums, and he's still got a great voice.
Yeah, he gets up and sings with me sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we were
Tell
born.
me. So you joined Human Instinct as the bass player again?
Yep. Yeah, we were a three-piece at Crofts.
So who was in the band? You had Morris, yourself,
And Martin Hope.
Martin Hope from the Formula.
Yeah, fabulous guitar player.
60s band.
Oh.
Again. Wow.
Yeah, I love playing with Martin.
So that must have been a great band.
Yeah, and we were into quite different stuff. We were playing a lot of Raikuda and things like nobody was playing that sort of thing, and Martin was brilliant. That's
So
what
you
he did.
stepped outside the square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we did a bit. We were playing in Christchurch, and I got a phone call from Mike Corliss again. I was telling you that Salty Dog were looking for a bass player, and I
They're a
wasn't.
Wellington bass band?
No, Salty Dog was Auckland.
Auckland, okay.
Yeah. And I wasn't all that interested, to be honest, because they were very middle of the road, and it wasn't really where I wanted to be. But I looked at the situation, and they had so much studio work. Mike Harvey was the ad writer in the country in those days, and he used his band to back everything. And I looked at it, and I thought, oh.
Now this is when, this is about 1970?
75.
75. Now Mike Harvey was truly a great musician and well respected. He had a lot to do with television, all sorts of things, arranging stuff and everything. Then he went off to Australia apparently.
Yep. Mike actually got the Clio Award in America for the best soundtrack to an ad.
Yeah.
And that was the Lemon and Pyro ad.
Oh, okay.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And he got it in America.
Yep. So when I joined the band,
Okay,
it was,
sorry
it
to
was
digress.
great.
But Mike Harvey, great name from the past.
Oh man, I learned a lot playing with Mike.
Yeah.
A very talented man, and we got a lot of work. It was fabulous. And I mean, in those days, the money we were making was just phenomenal. We were working 6 and 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We'd go and play. Some gigs we'd play. We were a resident of the Glenfield Tavern. We'd do Monday to Saturday, and we'd do Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Grandpa's.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'd be in the studio Monday, Tuesday,
Durham Lane.
Wednesday. Oh, it was an amazing time. So busy.
Yeah. But young men, we could all do it.
Yeah.
You reckon you could do it again?
No.
Would
I'm
you like
struggling
to?
with 3
Would you
hours.
like to? But they were great times, obviously, and we could sit here and reminisce all night.
Exactly.
And I'm always getting the order from the producer, stop reminiscing. And we can go down memory lane, and I love going down memory lane with you. I recently worked with you in Hamilton at a corporate gig with Kevin McNeil
That's
from
right,
the Mods.
with the Mods, yeah.
And you were playing keyboards.
Yep.
And I can remember we had a great night after the gig. We went home, we stayed with Kevin McNeil from the Mods. We stayed at his place. We had a bed each. We never went to bed. We sat up till 6 in the morning drinking red wine and talking about the old times. So we couldn't get enough of it.
That's great.
So here we are. We're back together again.
Yeah.
So we can't go that long tonight because time is not on our side. So I've got to ask you: you're still writing great original music on your own now, working as a soloist. Now you're writing a lot of material, aren't you?
I've got quite a few put aside, yeah.
Yeah.
Been doing it quite a few years now.
We've got to get you into an album because I've seen you perform some of these great songs, and they're magnificent songs. I mean, they're world class.
Thank you.
And your performance is world class. So let's get this. I'm setting him up here, but this is for real. I'm telling you, he's loved and admired by everybody. And Chris, I'm going to get to play one of your original songs.
Yeah, great.
And I believe it's called Philosophy 1, is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Philosophy 1. Strange title. He's not a strange man, he's a great man. Come on, let's enjoy Philosophy by Chris Gunn.
There's no riding like the wind. There's no loving like when you've sinned. There's no drinking like when you fall. There's no sharing like having it all. There's no laughing like the face of death. There's no sweetness like a drum band's breath. There's no falling like I fell for you. There ain't nothing like nothing to do. living hard, dying free. Tombstone to posterity. You take from the rich, to hell with the poor. I'll nail your picture to my bathroom door. There's no singing like the blues. There's no losing like nothing to lose. There's no praying like praying upon. There's no hoping like all hope is gone. Living hard, dying free. A tombstone to posterity. Take from the rich, to hell with the poor. I'll nail your picture to my bathroom door. Nail your picture to my bathroom door.
Philosophy 1 by Chris Gunn. Lovely song, man, and a great performance. Now, you're not doing an album at the moment, but are we going to be able to see you play somewhere? Is there somewhere we can see you at the moment? Where are your next gigs?
Got a few coming up. One's really important. We've got the Richie Pickett Memorial Concert in Cambridge.
Yes.
26th of April.
And a host of people on there with you?
A host of people. Larry Morris,
Yep.
Suzanne, I believe, Tom Sharplin.
Yep.
So I think who else?
Gray Bartlett, maybe?
No, I don't think Gray can do this one this time.
Okay.
But yeah, a real good lineup of people.
Yeah.
Some people from Tauranga that Richie played with. Simon Elton will be
the
there.
late great Richie Pickett, who you also played with.
For about 7 or 8 years, Richie and I played together.
That's amazing. You've played with everybody. He's worked with me. He's worked with everybody. Well, look, we look forward to anyone wants to catch up. He's out there working the Cambridge Town Hall on the date of
26th of April.
26th of April. Be there for a good night out. Chris Gunn will be performing there, and a lot of other great 60s icons and whatever. I look forward to catching up with you again soon, Chris. I know we're going to be on a stage together somewhere very soon.
Yeah, mate.
I want to thank you for being here tonight, man.
Thank you for having me.
Made my day having you here on Rockin' the Planet.
Thank you.
Well, where did the time go? Well, that's it this week for Rockin' the Planet. I'm Shane. I'll be here next week, same time, same place. Until then, keep on rocking.